Good afternoon, my people. I am Brandi Grayson from the Young Gifted and Black Coalition. I want to thank you so much for honoring our work today. And I also want to apologize because we're unable to be present. I am currently sitting in my car, as you can see. I am headed to our Y-Web graduation, which is a program that I oversee for disenfranchised individuals and women to provide them with training and education in web design. So today's a really big day for me and for the participants, especially because they've committed over 12 weeks to this program, 40 hours a week, no money. But thank you anyway for allowing me the opportunity to be with you today, even if it's just by video. It means the world. I often, as a woman of color in this work and in this movement and for this fight for Black liberation, I often feel alone. I often feel that the work that we do and the efforts that we put into the work that we do go unnoticed, goes unrecognized, and it definitely goes unpaid because the Young Gifted and Black Coalition is a volunteer-based coalition. We fundraise to be able to put on different events. We fundraise to be able to support different causes and just all kind of stuff that we do at the within the Young Gifted and Black Coalition. Just to name a few. If you're not familiar with the work that we do, we formed in Madison, Wisconsin, after the death and killing of Mike Brown in Ferguson, Missouri. A few of us went down to Ferguson on and off in the past year or so since his murder. And in Madison, specifically, we faced our own stuff relating to state violence. And Ferguson manifested and continues to manifest in the brutal killing and slaughter of our people in the street by the hands of police officers. In Madison, state violence manifests in the way of racial disparities. As you know, being in Milwaukee and living in Wisconsin is the worst state in the country for Black people to live. And Madison specifically is the worst city in the country for Black people to live. Yes, you heard it right. Madison, Wisconsin is the worst city in Wisconsin in the country to live if you're Black. And the reason for that is because we have the worst racial disparities in incarceration. We have the worst racial disparities in education. We have the worst racial disparities in resources, healthcare. We have the worst in all categories. Yay to Madison, Wisconsin. Not. But that is what prompted Young Gifted and Black to form, was the murder of Mike Brown and us coming to the table and saying, oh my God, what is happening around us? And really for ourselves having a light bulb moment of the reality of our reality of being Black in America, and more specifically being Black in Wisconsin, and even more specific, being Black in Madison, Wisconsin. So we formed, we said that we wanted to, our first campaign was to stop the building of Dane County Jail. They wanted to spend $160 million to renovate and build a new jail. In Madison, Wisconsin, we constitute 50% of all inmates at any given moment in Dane County Jail. However, we only constitute approximately 6% of the population, which means that the jails are overpopulated with our people, which means that the over-incarceration of our people in Dane County is a direct result of structural racism, systemic racism. And what we also know is that the crimes committed in Madison specifically, Dane County specifically, are equal across the board, meaning Black and white people commit the same amount of crimes, but somehow we are arrested at a rate of 11-1 in Madison. So at that point, Young Gifted and Black formed, and we're a coalition of many different entities, which includes Operation Welcome Home, which is an organization that fights homelessness, and Freedom Inc., which is an organization that empowers women and transgender and people that are queer and non-conforming people of color. The organization is ran by Hmong and Black women. A very amazing organization. It also is made up of members of Justice and Equity in Dane, which is a coalition that formed a little bit before Young Gifted and Black formed, which I was a part of. And again, in our pursuit of justice and equity in all categories. So our campaigns are around free to 350, meaning free 350 people from Dane County Jail, because the population at any given day is 800. And about 400 of that, as I pointed out before, are people of color, Black people, not just people people of color, but black people. And what we're saying, if there wasn't structural racism, there should only be 50 people in Dane County Jail that are black at any given moment. So free the other 350 people that are currently incarcerated for crimes of poverty, meaning crimes they've been forced to commit due to being poor, not having enough food, not having transportation, not having resources, not having opportunities. Another campaign that we're currently running is community control over police, because we understand that we understand that fighting racism is something that we will be doing for a long time, that it is an insidious psychological disease that has, like a virus, that has spread through our culture, that we all embody, including black people. And we understand that the slaughter and murder and the over policing and the harassing of our people in our communities is a direct result of black people specifically not having power to enforce policies or procedures for the police, not having power in relating to how we're policed in our communities, not having a say so on who polices us in our communities. So we're saying community control over police. We should have the power to set priorities, set procedures, hire and fire folks, and to demand that people that patrol our areas and are part of our communities in terms of police force actually live in the communities. In Madison, Wisconsin, we have a police force made up of white folks who live nowhere in Madison, who generally speaking don't have much experience with people of color and are in denial of structural racism. So that is our campaign. I can go on and on about our other campaigns, but I only have a few minutes, and I think I've exceeded the amount. I just want to thank you guys. It means the world to us that you are honoring us today. It's not done enough, and we need to honor each other. And we know that this work that we do is emotionally, physically, and spiritually draining at times. And when I got the email, I just felt like almost like I was revived and was thankful. Like, okay, that was like an answer from the universe that we must keep going, because there's been moments where I'm like, this is too much for me. And when you honored us and you chose us to be honored, it made everything okay. So again, from the bottom of our hearts, Young, Gifted, and Black says thank you for all that all of you do sit in that audience. You showed up today because you care. You care about the people, and that's where change really starts. And we must understand that one person has the power and ability to change the world. So onward we will go, people, my people, and thank you again for being present and for honoring us. We are one. Love.